in a car with a family last month, and we were driving north for hours. And we started talking, and they were talking about things that were on their mind. One of the things someone said was, if I went to church, I would want to hear about how difficult it is right now and how I should have hope. I thought that was a really important topic. And you know, it's true. So I'll share a couple of stories. Let's see what we can do. It really is a difficult time right now in the world and for many of us. So it's important to acknowledge that. For some of us, maybe we're looking for work and we're not finding it. For others, we miss family who have transitioned perhaps this year or years ago. Holidays might not feel the same. And while the holidays are supposed to be a joyous time of year, it can also be melancholy because we might not get as many holiday cards as we used to. And not only that, we might not even hear from people at all, which makes us wonder, is it something I did? Is it something going on with them? And then at the same time, things are speeding up. Feels like the news and technology, everything is on an app. Now, email is the new snail mail. You know, even the NASDAQ is talking about going 24/7. I think the New York Stock Exchange is already on for 22 hours a day with 5 hours break. And cryptocurrency exchanges are already 24 hours a day. Things just are so fast that you can't get your bearings. And when we can't get our bearings, we don't know where we are. And so it's hard when things are difficult and some of us are looking for love this year, not yet finding it. And then so things are so fast paced. It kind of reminds me of Las Vegas. Have any of you not been to Las Vegas? Raise your hand if you have not. Wow, there's a couple in here. Stay away. Go ahead. I have been there. I've got family that lives there. And what I noticed about being in a casino is they're all alike. They set the temperature. I think it's like, 75 degrees at all times. And the music is always piped in. The lighting is always daylight, no matter what time of day or night. So you lose your bearings. Like, how long have I been in this jackpot? Because, this. And that's the point. They want to make it so you can't find your balance, your bearings, and you forget everything except just the dopamine rush when you gamble in case you might win playing that game. So that's how life feels for many of us right now. And so it's hard to not let the news cycle and people talking about what's scary and things that really are difficult to take over. So we were in this car driving north, and I asked everybody in the car, I said, well, how do you deal with that? What works for you? So one person said, I go back to what I learned about my anxiety. He said, I try to see something, I try to touch something, see if I can smell a couple of things, hear a couple of things. And he said, all of that will distract me and calm me down. So my heart rate goes down. Another person in the car said that they got hope by watching the History Channel and seeing all the things we've lived through over time. And that there's things that came out of difficulties that were great, you know. Antibiotics weren't widespread till World War II. And I know we can overuse those, but when you really need them, they work. And we're not washing clothes by hand. We've got washing machines. And I think back to January 1st, when I was in school, my car broke down early in the morning on the highway. I didn't have a cell phone. And it was below zero. And I remember there was no one on the road. So it was about 7 a.m. So I was just waiting until a tow truck that was from the county came by, just making sure people were okay, and took me to the barn. And yeah, but so cell phones are a big thing that really has changed our lives, that we take for granted until we lose our phone, right? Another person said they read books. They like to read biographies of inspiring people, things that they dealt with that were difficult. There's always hope, but you have to look for it. We have to look for the good, the things that are coming out of what's hard. A friend of mine grew up in Cicero. This is a story for you. And moved to Southern California, where she now lives. And I was talking to her recently, and I said, well, you live on the ocean. Have you ever gone surfboarding? Being from Chicago, I figured that's just what you would do. And she said, no, I'm too small for a surfboard, but I have a boogie board. So a boogie board is just a short surfboard, and it has a string that kind of attaches to your wrist so you don't lose it. And she said she really enjoyed it, but she told me a story about this one time. I guess on this boogie board, you usually kneel or you lay down on your chest, and you let the waves carry you into shore, kind of like surfing. You stand up. She said, I was riding a wave, and a huge wave just curled in on me. And she said, it took me down, and it tumbled me under the water. So like I turned around and around and around, I was churned like a vortex underwater. And she said there was a moment that I remember, I didn't know where I was, or what direction, or what was happening, or what to do. And we all know that feeling when either a real scenario or thinking about a scenario that could happen churns us up inside, and it takes over. It can really produce sweat or like interactions that are very chaotic. So anyway, back to her, she said there was this moment, and she said, I knew that I can't panic. You're not supposed to panic. What am I supposed to do? And she remembered, I'm supposed to just stay still and wait, try to relax, which is what she did. And when she kept holding her breath and took a moment to just float underwater, she could feel the current She could feel the subtle floating a little upward, and she knew, okay, that's up. Kick and swim. She was able to surface and breathe. Can you do that when you're churning in a real or not yet happening scenario that is engulfing you? I thought about that. I've got another story for you that made me feel hopeful in these difficult times. And this comes from the people in the car. So my sister-in-law is a nurse. She was shopping at Aldi the day before Thanksgiving and getting some last minute things. And she pushed her cart outside of the Aldi, and right there at the exit outside, a woman was being assisted who had fallen, and she was kind of like trying to get up, and she kept saying, I'm okay, I'm okay, I'm okay. And so she thought, oh, well, I don't have to do anything. I got to get home. I've got a list. I got to clean. People are coming. So she went to her car, put the groceries in, and went back and, got the quarter from the carts at Aldi. You get a quarter if you return your carts. She said, I went back to my car in the parking lot, and I saw this head on the ground, and it was just floating there. She's like, what the heck? It was the woman's head. She was laying on the pavement. The woman had fallen again. So she went over, she said, oh my goodness. She was lying there, and this time she had a big bump, a big bruise was starting on her head, and she had a bloody nose. So she said, oh, hold on, I'm a nurse, I'll go get a Kleenex. So she went back to her car, into her purse, got a Kleenex, and was coming back. And the woman was just kind of, talking, and before long, a man came up with a little girl, his child, holding her hand, and he said, hey, what's happened? I'm a paramedic. And then she explained, well, she had fallen, and I'm trying to help her find out what's happening. And he's like, well, I'll go to my car. I have a first aid kit. And then he and the nurse helped her sit up and lean against the car next to her to get her bearings. Just then, the woman in the car came out of the car and came around and said, what's going on? And they explained, well, she had fallen, and we're trying to find out if she's okay and help her out. So the woman said, oh, what can I do? And the man that was a paramedic says, I'm going back to my car to get a first aid kit. And she said, who's this? And it was the little girl, 4 years old. Oh, hi. Can you hold my hand while your dad goes and gets the first aid kit? Sure. And so the woman from the car held the little girl's hand. And the little girl was so sweet. She's like, are you sick? Are you sad? She's talking to the woman, trying to help. So the dad went and got that. And then one more person came, another woman, and she said, hi, I'm a nurse. And my sister-in-law said, I'm a nurse. She said, what's happening? And they explained that she had fallen. They've got her sitting up, trying to find out if she's okay. And the woman who's a nurse started interviewing her. Are you in pain? What's your name? Where do you live? We're here. Do you know what day it is? Just trying to talk to her. So anyway, the story goes, they were able to get her phone and assist her to call for someone to come. And they came, and they said, you're not supposed to be out of the house. Why did you come here? And she explained she needed some last minute thing to bring to someone's house. And they had a doctor's appointment the next day, so they didn't need to go call the ambulance. And she had changed her blood pressure medicine, so she had gotten dizzy and had fallen. But the point is, none of those 5 people left the day before Thanksgiving. How busy they were. They stayed for a stranger. You and I are that woman. And not only that, we're the people that helped. That story shows there's good in the world, in the difficult, hard times. Wonderful people, loving, caring people. So I'm not going to do a meditation, but I just want you to close your eyes just briefly and listen to these words before we conclude. Close your eyes. Remember this. Big words like compassion and volunteering all collapse into one syllable words: love, hope, peace. Know that, and there will be an impenetrable force field around you against difficulty. When you need to, remember how you feel now. Sitting still, quiet, regaining balance, serenity. Remember how you got there. You call on this feeling. For when you do, it will soothe any choppiness on the surface of your soul. In the stillness, we find harmony. Harmony is love, and love is harmony. With harmony, noise becomes music. Weeds become flowers. Nothing that is said to you can be wrong once you are in the right state of mind. No decision can be made by you that is the wrong decision. For it doesn't matter which direction you go in, as long as you bring with you the right version of yourself. And you can course correct at any time. You are in control. Make this a year of loving harmony. And just like that, love emanates to you from all here in this world and from all those you know and love in the hereafter. And so it is.